Today's topic is editorial preferences. If you've got 5 minutes, I've got 5 tips to help you avoid current errors that are currently driving editors crazy. Okay, editors are people, editors are individuals. They all have individual things that drive them crazy about the writing that comes across their desks. Now, that being said, there are some common writing problems that many editors cite as being the kinds of things that they hate seeing when they see them in a piece of writing that comes across their desks on any given day. Now, every once in a while, I like to research what the current pet peeves are. I've done it before, and I will put a link somewhere in this video to previous ones, but here are some of the things that editors are currently saying that drive them crazy and tips to help you avoid driving those editors crazy. Tip number 1, avoid winking, smirking, and quirking. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually have noticed some of these in some of the books that I've read recently. A lot of people are smirking, a lot of people are winking. These are the kinds of things that they say drive them nuts. I have to say that recently I think I might actually have been guilty of the winking bit, but I have to have a look at that in my manuscript. So try to avoid those things because they are the kinds of things that editors have said recently that they don't want to see in any more manuscripts. Tip number 2, stop using towards and use the word toward instead. Now, okay, before you start to argue with me about this one, I know they are both correct, sort of, and they are both can be used in exactly the same way. They both mean the same thing. However, having the S on the end of toward is not necessary, and editors seem to hate it. So why bother putting it in? I realize actually that this may be more of a North American thing because in other countries outside of Canada and the United States, towards seems to be used more commonly. Having said that, why drive the editors crazy? Just take that S off. Tip number 3, stop using weird dialogue tags. I am totally with the editors on this one. This can drive both editors and readers crazy. I have to tell you that recently I read a book, and in one chapter I counted between 25 and 30 different dialogue tags. I actually started marking them. I was reading on a Kindle, so you can highlight them and go back and see. It nearly drove me nuts. Here's what I'm talking about. Cringeworthy dialogue tags like hissed, yelled, responded, replied, muttered. Well, perhaps you can get away with a muttered once in a while. But all of these are totally unnecessary. If you write dialogue correctly, the only dialogue tag you should ever use, except on the odd occasion, is said. And quite often you don't even need that if you're using characters' activities, what they're doing at the same time as they're speaking, so that the reader always knows exactly who is speaking. But you do not need to say, he yelled. It should be clear that he yelled. It should be clear that someone is responding to someone else or someone is replying to someone else. This is so annoying and editors really don't like it. So you might need a real edit of your dialogue if you're guilty of this on a regular basis. The occasional dialogue tag other than said is okay, and then it's effective. But if they're always being used, it's not effective. And often I've noticed that in new writers, they think that the more of them, the better. That's wrong. Tip number 4, avoid random capitalization of words. This is one of the things that has come up a couple of times in editors' lists of things that they hate. Things like boomer, millennial, and even the word God, which is often not supposed to be capitalized. For example, the gods of war or the gods, unless you're referring to a particular theistic god related to a religion, the word God is not supposed to be capitalized. There are lots of others. If you are not sure whether or not a word should be capitalized, look it up. When I'm writing, I find myself doing this regularly to see, should this word be capitalized or shouldn't it? Look it up. Tip number 5, avoid making up words that aren't words at all. I'm talking about things like a lot, A-L-O-T, That is not a word. After all, AFTERALL is not a word. It is two words. Yoga mat is not all one word. It's two words. High school is two words. Coffee table is two words. But you will often see this put together, and this is what I consider the slippery slide into illiteracy these days. I do know that the putting together compound words like that is more of a common thing now, and you will find that certain grammar checkers will put things together that weren't there before. You might want to look those up if you're not sure whether they're actually correcting you correctly on some more authoritative site, like a site like the Purdue Online Writing Lab. You might give that one a try. Now, editors are only human, but they all have their own idiosyncrasies, and even if you disagree with some of these kinds of things, why make them annoyed? Don't you want to make a good impression on them? If you're sending something to an editor, you might as well make it something that they'll want to read. Happy writing. Subscribe to Write, Fix, Repeat, and maybe I can help you improve your writing knowledge and skills. 5 tips at a time.